Hey there, 32bitlanders. I have with me GTO as usual. Hey there, GTO. How's it going?
Man, it's going pretty good. It's E3 week, mother person. There we go.
well,
I'm trying to keep my resolution to be a little bit less fucking profane. Sorry.
yeah,
Good to see you,
okay.
Bruce. Good to see you, Bruce.
Yeah, good to see you too, buddy. Yeah, E3 season, man. Yeah, that's really good. But before we begin our show and get to the specifics of why we're late on this episode, but we are changing platforms, ladies and gentlemen. We were with Buzzsprout earlier. You could access us through our website, but we'll be changing that very soon. We're moving on with Anchor.fm, which will carry the backlog episodes soon as well. We've got 3 up there as of now. The rest of I think it's about another 6 or 7 which we have in there. They'll be up in another 5 or 6 days apparently. But due to the change in platform and, all the back end shit that we needed to handle, this episode has been delayed. And we also have a story for you because we did do a predictions episode. Is that right, GDO?
Yeah, that most certainly is, my friend.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff to uncover in this episode. It's fucking E3, man. Okay.
I know, dude, and you know what? I am kind of glad that this got pushed back. See, because 32-bit landers, what we had planned is we were going to talk about all these exciting rumors and all this goddamn amazing shit that we were waiting to hear about that just, kind of slipped out the anus into the toilet because this has been a very lackadaisical E3.
Yeah.
That's a word I just made up. Yeah. But I don't know. How do you think? How do you think of so far? What are your initial impressions, Mr. Juicy?
Oh my God. Okay. Nothing relevant. Lot of criticism inside. Lot of disappointment. And I mean, there's just pain. There's a source in there, and their source is painful, and there's a lot of adjectives and describable. Figuratively and metaphorically, it's very, very just pain. But I get it. There's like 2 sides to this coin, but Square Enix.
This is how I felt. This is how I felt when Metroid Prime Trilogy didn't get announced last summer.
Ooh, dude.
But but it just kind of in a bigger way. I feel you, man. I feel your pain. But today redeemed it a little bit so far, and let's try to focus on the positives of it, man, because we got a lot of listeners out there who may have some different gaming tastes than us, but we gotta stay open. There's a lot of people that are pretty happy too. What do you think there's to be happy about?
Yeah, I mean, if they just want to watch...
Streamers are happy.
Dude, streamers are getting blocked because they were screaming Ubisoft on there. Yeah, no shit.
Everybody's maybe that should be our first thing. Everybody's got to stream.
Do you know what
fucking streaming services are there now? Oh my god!
Do you know why?
Fuck that. Why?
Because Just Dance 2020 had these copywritten audios that they were playing, which Ubisoft definitely paid for, but the streamers hadn't. And fair use doesn't apply to streaming, and it got struck down. And once you get struck down, you cannot get back online until the IP owner or the person with the the song rights and everything actually says, "Oh, that's fine. It was a algorithm error or whatever. It was picked up through the algorithm or something." So I know for a fact that Spawnwave, who casts every E3, has put out on his tweets that, "Hey, YouTube, unlock me. Hey, YouTube, unlock me."
We're on a different wavelength. I'm talking about like streaming like fucking Stadia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. Shit.
But, fuck them too. Yeah.
Well, it's Google.
Streamers, we love you. We love you. Just streamers. Do me a favor. If you're going to record a fucking conference, keep your goddamn fucking mouth shut and then do a reaction video later. When I want to watch a goddamn direct or a conference, I don't want to hear somebody saying, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." Okay, but anyway, oh my God.
Okay, let's
So
start with
everybody,
this. Let's start with this. We'll start
yeah,
with Pokemon Sword and Shield because we didn't really cover it.
absolutely.
Of course, as being the expert on the Pokemon Sword and Shield, what?
No, just call me the addict. Call me the addict.
Okay,
Yeah, that's it's
he's
better.
so addicted, he's caught them all. So, Sword and Shield. What do you think? Were you impressed? Were you happy? Were you? I
Well,
mean, it's
I have one complaint. The legendaries look a little bit too similar, and the versions look a little bit gender based. But ultimately, here's what I have to say about Sword and Shield. It looks freaking awesome. Okay, like all these haters out there just really need to go march away because I love Sun and Moon, I love X and Y. Fuck, I love all of them. But Sun and Moon was the one that really departed from the formula. Here we have gyms. Not only that, we have something that's always been a staple in animation. We have these big, huge stadiums with people actually like doing stuff in them in the audience, like cheering you on and shit. I mean, yes, it's on the Switch. It's not going to be in 4K, but it looks great. We got this new, we got this new mode where Pokemon turn into Pokezillas, and it's like a cross between like Z moves and Mega Evolution,
right,
but like
right.
instead of just having one move like with Z moves or having like an entire turn like with a Mega Evolution, you have three. So it's like pick your three. But on top of that, I mean, we have like a bunch of gorgeous cities, like three huge cities. I mention that every time we talk about it. It looks like we have this finally a huge fucking overworld that's going through all the cities. It has like deserts and ice and grass, and there's Pokemon in the wild, so all the people that were bitching from Let's Go can go shove it. Like then we have Pokemon raids. I mean, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on a raid. I'm gonna go try to catch some mega fucking mecha chew or something. I don't know, but it's like with different weather and different changing seasons, we finally have an old professor again. Someone who looks wise. It's only the second female professor ever. Her name is Magnolia, another fucking tree. But yeah, it looks great, dude. I mean, I just as somebody who likes Pokemon, I showed this trailer to my kids in our final gaming class today, and they were just blown away. And most of these people had only played Let's Go, and they were looking at it like it was the new Breath of the Wild for them. So,
Right.
to be quite honest, when people are completely not taking it in that we have a Pokemon game with a huge open world segment that leads off into smaller areas, but all connects to an overworld. Like this has been people's dream in Pokemon, rotatable camera for ages, and now we have it, and people are just like,
It's
oh.
no longer
But then,
just the isometric side scroller kind of
yeah,
the imagination of Game Freak is actually coming to reality. Like what they'd imagined years ago, it's coming to reality now. Finally, on the Switch, they're able to render
that's
their
that's right.
actual ideas now. But I mean, all agreed. Everything that you said, I've agreed to all of that. But I don't know if it was just me, but if we remember the reveal video, I was the first one who said this, and I said the graphical quality looks like shit. And I think you had the rebuttal, wait till you see gameplay revealed later. And then I was proven wrong. Like the graphical quality looked so much more at par with Let's Go, even better.
Well, it looks a hell of a lot better than Let's Go, dude.
Yeah, it
It looks
does. Like
great.
it does, but it didn't in the reveal video. That looked like some
Yeah, it looks
random.
good. It looked good to me. I'm just used to fucking playing on a 3DS or a
Yeah,
DS. You
so
know what
it
I mean?
it looked like 3DS platform video on the reveal video, but this E3 prior video had a much more better graphical quality. And the armored Pokemon shit never really happened, right? And it was
Well, it
so huge.
either isn't happening, or it either isn't happening or isn't happening yet. But before we get too carried away, Brucey Juicy,
Yeah.
I do want to mention we got a ton of titles to mention really quickly, and we do have a Nintendo Direct tonight that I'm going to be adding an appendix on to this episode 4,
Right.
so that we can cover that. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, so just trying to move on a bit so we can cover a lot of ground for our listeners here, is we were talking beforehand about like a lot of these announcements, like a Darksiders game that isn't actually 4, but you get to play as the Fourth Horseman. There was rumors of Nino Kuni on Switch, which still might happen in the Direct. All these things that we were hearing about that sounded so great, and a possible Fable on Xbox. But then E3 came, and I actually stayed up in the morning. It was like between 4 and 6 a.m. here, and the Xbox conference came, and I watched it. And my initial impression, before I go into titles, was I was pretty underwhelmed. I felt like with the actual console reveal, they said, "Hey, Sony, remember those little facts that you kind of leaked? Well, we have those same things, but we can do 120 frames a second, and we're not going to load. Your turn." and, and we can do 8K, and we got Master Chief, and yeah, and I'm just like I'm just thinking to myself like, okay, all right. So what is this? It's just gonna be like the next conference. Sony's gonna be like, ours has controllers. Microsoft's gonna be like, yeah, ours has wires, bitch. Sorry, it's just like, okay, what do you think?
8K, dude. This next property IP, like whatever, everything's gonna start around 2021. Every studio is gonna start working on that dev kit from 2021, and 8K by the time this next gen rolls out.
It's gonna be 2022 before people can actually afford 8K, man. So like,
true. But they're
just
building
about
to
all the
that.
work that
They're building.
Yeah,
to
but
that.
it puts so much work on devs to go into that kind of detail. But we do have the ray tracing, so that's going to be really cool. RTX cards. I was just checking last night. RTX cards are in China right now over 10,000 yuan, and so you're going to be getting an RTX console, no matter which one you get, for like $500 or $600.
This one's going to be about 700 to 800. Both of them are like you're not going to get. I don't think
so. I think 599 max. That's my prediction.
Sony might go 599, but the Xbox probably will go 599 and a 699. Two options. Like right from the gate go like
it's a DDR6. It's a DDR6.
I know, but still, like I'm thinking like a 2 model, like one with 8K capabilities and one without. All right. Anyways, moving on.
They're gonna have the same capabilities. I think that the rumor is that one won't have a disk drive, but we haven't had that confirmed. Right now, they've just announced it's one machine. So what about the games, man? Like,
okay,
tell me what from? Yeah.
Can I just say the games that stood out for me that I watched because I've been watching them early in the morning, around 6 to 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm sleeping and waking up, and post they happen. So I've also been watching reactions of people online. A lot of these morning video podcasters or vloggers, they put out their reactions as they were watching and stuff. So I watched those as well. In all the video games that have been revealed, I've only liked the ones which had actual gameplay in it. So, like Star Wars Jedi, I'm in it. That's my world. That's what I love. It's got this Uncharted, Prince of Persia, Tomb Raider-ish, this vibe to like kind of, and also
it is, yeah.
Also the Knights of the Republic. That was one thing that stood out from Star Wars. Ori from Microsoft. It looks, oh my god, it was amazing. It looked amazing. Everything else from Microsoft, I have to look at it, like watch someone play it online, and then I might go and buy it. I don't know. They've got really good studios, but not too. What I was looking for in Microsoft didn't happen. I wanted them to talk about xCloud. I wanted them to talk about how the Game Pass, which is available for $1 now for PCs, with a decent collection of 100 games. I've seen the games too.
Well, they mentioned those.
Yeah, it was okay, but I wanted to see more.
Same.
Bethesda.
And I think Bethesda. I
think they fucked it up. They started with Doom, which is.
They had two things I cared about. Bethesda, the Deathloop game looked okay, but Ghostwire Tokyo, the Shinji Mikami game from Resident Evil creator looks really badass.
But no
So that,
gameplay.
but yeah, that's the thing though. Like, I have a different take on these kind of things than you when it comes to gameplay because I'm a very story-based gamer, and like I know the gameplay will come, but when you announce something like just look at every From Software game ever announced. It's always been announced with like something to tease you. I mean, like a good teaser should be, and while we're talking about it, like Cyberpunk, like if the teaser is good enough to get you sucked in, then then the next question is, will the gameplay follow suit? And that's the second step. That's when they either screw it up or say, wow. So like I'm just happy just to get some announcements,
Hmm.
and I'll just be really quick here, just so you can talk. From what I saw yesterday from Microsoft and Bethesda, the things that interested me, I'll give them to you really quickly, all in one loop. You already mentioned Ori. I thought that was awesome. I'm definitely interested in Halo Infinite because we don't know much about it, and it's going to be a launch title on the Scarlet, and that's something the Xbox One didn't have as a really heavy hitting launch title.
Hmm.
So could this be Xbox's Breath of the Wild? I don't know. Ghostwire Tokyo is the only Bethesda thing that really got me going. I didn't really care too much for Doom Eternal, but some people may.
I
Um,
do. I like that they started the show with it. But yeah, anything
yeah,
else, Bethesda?
Wolfenstein looks cool, but no, the Bethesda conference really didn't hit me. Just going down my list real
Hmm.
quick there of what hit me from yesterday. Um, Jedi Fallen Order, that of course looks really good, and the previews are pretty good too. But then again, I was wondering whether it would be too linear, but I've heard rumors that you can choose which planet to go to and stuff. The really big ones that got me were just coming fresh off of Sekiro. Elden Ring hit me like a hammer upside my head. Like, oh wow, okay, this Martin and Miyazaki thing is happening, and it looks very Souls-ish. And I'm like, they're making a ring. Oh my gosh, they're so totally ripping off Tolkien, but it still looks badass. Then Cyberpunk was great, and I'm like, hey, it's Neo, and and
Well,
then and then um and then let's see what else. What else? Oh, the for me though, and I know this is only me, the most impressive thing that I saw yesterday that stuck in my head was the Tales of Arise trailer, coming from a studio that had never made anything graphically great before. That's a Tales game? You gotta be freaking kidding me. Fans, if you anybody out there likes RPGs who hasn't seen that trailer, you go look it up.
YouTube it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was me for yesterday. So how about you, bro? And
Yeah. No,
Ori.
I think
And
I
Ori.
pretty much covered what I don't know, man. Like Microsoft was. It's Microsoft. It's what it does. Like every E3, they come in one surprise, and one really nice game. That's it. Everything else is just it it's just a stock in library. Someone can pick it up if they're interested in it. Like it's not like oh shit, what's the next game? Oh shit, because that's what you do at Sony, and like, a little bit of that feeling came back today. So we'll just segue this
Well, if
into
we're if we're if
today's.
we're if we're if we're gonna go that route real quick, then that begs a final question. Something we were just talking about is prior to this past generation, consoles were released. Like the Xbox 360 came out 2 years before PS3 did, and then Wii came out after PS3, and then Wii U and Switch are both mid-gen. And it's always been very important for consoles to advertise with a strong batch of launch titles. And therefore, it didn't matter when it came out necessarily, because the fans would see the titles and they would go and they would buy the machine, even if the other machine was already out. Now,
Right.
last gen was fascinating because Xbox One and PS4 basically came out around the same time. I mean, and my wife was watching Big Bang Theory at the time, and it was like, I mean, there was an episode where Sheldon was laying on the floor in Best Buy with a PS4 and an Xbox trying to decide which one to get because nobody had any freaking clue which one was a better investment.
Right.
So what I'm thinking is everybody expected this Microsoft E3 to be the big shebang bang, but they said holiday 2020, and which means next E3 is when we're going to get the list of launch titles. Do you think that there is a lot they're saving? Because I think so. I think that we're not just going to get one title. I think there's going to be a lot that comes out at that E3 to get everyone excited and want to buy a Scarlet, no matter
Damn.
what
Like,
Sony does.
that's a long ass question.
Mm.
No, I mean it's true with the state of what things are, and as in how E3 has rolled out, and you've pointed this out earlier. I think this morning when we were chatting about stuff, and
Yeah.
really getting the episode together. You had said this to me quite clearly. Everyone's holding on to their cards, and I suspect that's what's happening because before we move into the today part of E3, it's good to put this into perspective. Microsoft is going to, at some point, become king of this industry. They're just laying the floors and the tiles down.
Well, that
They're,
depends. That
yeah,
depends how accepting they are of the Japanese gaming industry, which still has a great niche.
I think that's
And
what their tie up with Nintendo is going to look like.
yeah, and that's why I can't wait for this direct, which we're gonna just a reminder we're gonna feed you guys on.
Yeah.
It's just I feel that there's a lot of mystery there. Like when Phil Spencer gets confidence, when Xbox gets confidence, something happens. I mean, the Xbox One launch was a disaster.
But
I mean, like,
they
well, there are,
recovered. Sorry.
yeah, that's what. But that's my point. Just so
Yeah.
that was okay for you to say. Like, what was the best launch title on that? Rise, Son of Rome. I mean, that was a fuckload of shit with a great soundtrack. Cheers to Borislav Slavov, now composing at Larian Studios. But anyway, like, I'm thinking that if you look at how they have rebuilt since then, the sheer amount of profit they've made, the studios they've acquired, there is a lot that they probably have considered business wise and are just waiting for Sony to give them a reason to announce. And I'm happy to see this play back and forth because Sony's going to do the same. And everyone's going to hold stuff until the last moment. Like I said, I got wires. Yeah, well, I got a controller. Until all of a sudden everybody blows their load, and it's going to be just like the old days. It's like, but instead of doing it at E3, it's
Didn't
like they're doing it behind your backs. You
no,
know?
but didn't it happen with the Xbox One X Project Scorpio? Was it? That's what happened.
Yeah,
Right?
but
The Pro
well,
came
but
out approximately around the same time, and nobody knew if there was a Pro in the works or anything. And then they just announced it, and then E3, and then it was available during the holidays. I think that's what happened with
yeah,
Sony.
but like you mentioned earlier, though, the Pro was rushed as a result. I mean, Sony didn't even have their own Ultra Blu-ray player
Right,
inside
right.
of their own fucking device. And but the way Microsoft came about with the X was like, it's a great machine. We don't really have any like a huge list of exclusives for you to buy this machine for,
But third
but
party support
this
was amazing.
yeah, but this machine is going to give you exactly what we promised. And as a proud owner of one, and everything else, it is a damn good machine. Everything that they
Yeah.
said, all the fucking shit talk they said before they announced it, it is there in that box. So when they said that Project Scorpio is gonna stomp on the world, it's gonna be a monster, like, Sony's got to be thinking, like, I'm sure theirs will be a monster too, but it's going to come down to that final announcement of launch titles. And Microsoft knows that if they want to get back to glory, these studios have to be doing something more than just indie titles.
Yeah,
That's what I'm waiting for.
that part of Microsoft indie titles blurb, nothing caught me. Like I don't even remember one title name when I was watching
Yeah.
the Xbox
I'm like, the
presentation.
Halo and Gears, yeah.
Yeah, that's
glory.
it. Have you seen
No
people play
Cuphead 2?
Gears?
Fuck.
Have you-
Yeah, but see, like, that's the thing. I play shooter. I don't shoot me for this. Get it. I play shooters for the campaigns.
Right.
Like, I love Gears of War because I'm
It has a dedicated
it's
story each time.
it's and combined, it's one of the best. That and Halo are arguably the best sagas ever created for shooter franchises. I
They're
mean,
like gaming. They're
and
like gaming Star Wars. Like they can always keep shooting one out, and people will still just go and watch it for the fuck's sake of it. I mean, even if it's good or
it's
bad.
it's like it's like $60 for the best 6 hours of my life, you know. But you know, it's worth it though, because like, you know, I go back and I replay Gears of War 2 and how they remastered it and put it in 4K and 60 frames a second for free on the X, and didn't even tell people they did it, just because Microsoft, your friendly neighborhood gamer fixer-upper, doesn't need to recharge for shit. They still sell that for $20, or you can play it for free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And so now what's happening is like Microsoft isn't pumping out the exclusives, but everybody's saying, why isn't Sony like Microsoft? Why isn't Nintendo like Microsoft? They're the ones who are suggesting crossplay. They made a deal with Nintendo. They put Cuphead. They put one of their like 5 exclusives on the Switch. Probably going to hear of Ori soon. I'm predicting, but you never know.
I'm wishing.
And it's just
That's
like
on my wish list.
Microsoft is a friendly town player, and I think they have set that up so that everybody sees them as that. Sees how during this generation, not once did they pout about a damn thing. So that when they come out with like 5 or 6 solid launch titles that are like, hot damn, everybody's going to be like, they deserve my money. And I think it's something that takes years, and this year is one step closer. That's my analysis.
I'm going to add to that, and then we can segue into the next one. That's today's games. But I'll just say this: I think they've acquired loyalty over the past few years. They've given service as well as powerful machines, and they've acquired a very loyal base of people. For example, people who play Fortnite on their Xbox have much better graphics to play with. It's like playing on the fucking PC, and you know
it's better than playing on the PC. My PC fucking always has shit popping up everywhere and crashes.
Yeah,
my Xbox doesn't crash.
Yeah. Speaking of crash, Ubisoft.
Oh my gosh, that was a great segue. I was thinking about saying the loyalty thing, like, yeah, I got one and I don't even have anything to play on it, but that was good.
Yeah,
man. All right, look, Ubisoft. Okay, there's been rumors of Assassin's Creed Legion, codename, which is going to be set in Rome, with the ancestors of Bayek and Alexios and Cassandra, but that wasn't talked about, nor should it be yet. But I mean, like, they had a conference to fucking announce their own streaming service that no one's gonna buy, a Watch Dogs 3 that nobody gives a shit about.
It looked good.
And
I
hate Watch Dogs, fine, but I never played the first 2, and it doesn't make me want to play the first 2.
I have, and they were shit. Like, I can't.
But at least you know this backstory of the shit.
There's no backstory to Watch Dogs 1 and 2. It's just kind of similar.
So it's like the opposite of Assassin's Creed.
You know how GTA is, right? It's just like a technology GTA, essentially. They tried to do that, but I think with this one, they've succeeded. They've made a gameplay mechanic with tech. You know, at that time you were having games like Prototype, Infamous Second Son, these kind of games. You know, these kind of games were like really in. So when Watch Dogs was made by Ubisoft, it was their attempt at the GTA vibe and stuff. So I don't know.
I'm not really too worried about Ubisoft, because I know some people picked on Odyssey for microtransactions. No, but I enjoyed them, and I didn't think that they were any problem with the game. Ubisoft announces their shit when they feel like announcing their shit. They showed up today just because they fucking wanted to show up. They didn't really want to talk about anything, but they'll announce something in 2 months. They'll announce an Assassin's Creed 3 months before it comes out. They don't care.
Yeah,
they've had a lot of good titles in the last couple of years. I mean, hell, even Mario Rabbids was great. So, you know, let Ubisoft be Ubisoft. They're on a positive path, but There's just no reason to watch that conference for me.
Well, because it was full of shitty fucking mobile games. I
I
mean,
know, but
the whole thing was a mobile direct. They could have just streamed this. They didn't need a stage. They didn't. I mean, I didn't want to look at that Just dance choreographed. Like I did. I could have not wasted that time. If I wanted to watch a video, I'd watch Netflix on like this the Beyonce fucking documentary on that. I'd watch people dancing on that. But that was just a waste of my time, and I sat through it. And I don't. Again, another thing. Don't even remember any of the mobile game names. I know Bethesda's got
you know what?
Elder Scrolls.
You're right. I'm getting fucking angry. You're right. You're right. You sat through it. There was
Yeah.
no fucking reason you should have sat through that. So why are we making the listener sit through that? Fuck this. Ubisoft's done.
Fuck
Let's
it, Chuck
talk
that shit.
about Square fucking Enix.
So-
Holy shit.
So you
balls.
guys out there-
I'm still cleaning my ass. I'm still picking myself up. I'm sorry. That shows you how much I like
Listeners,
that conference.
just so you know, as soon as Square Enix was done, we have a group, obviously, of all our people working on 32bitland here, and GTO just writes one like sentence. I just soiled the earth with the jizz.
Yeah. Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah,
I did.
and
I believe I said I'm still cleaning up the jizz that I soiled the earth with.
I at that
Yeah.
time didn't think of it, but it came to me later, and I was like, "Amen to that," because that's exactly what Square Enix's whole. It was a goddamn show.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like
It was
Square
E3.
Enix. It wasn't. It was right when you look back at it. If you just look at the lists, right, there weren't any like really huge unpredictable announcements. We know they're coming: Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, whatever. But what they did was they took what people wanted to see, and they had Tetsuya Nomura show up, and they went and they gave people everything they wanted to see, plus a crap load of other stuff that you may not have wanted to see, but they're letting you know we're there and we care. And I just gotta get it off my head real quick. Okay, Final Fantasy VII looks absolutely fucking amazing. Okay, now they're talking about it being 2 episodes. One being mostly around Midgar and backstory there, another one in the rest of the world, how that's going to work, whether it's 2 Blu-ray discs in one title or 2 separate things, that's still being argued about. But nobody gives a shit because it looks so damn good. And then they got to go and they got to announce a Final Fantasy VIII remaster, which obviously isn't a big deal for a lot of people, but I finally, after all these goddamn decades, can see what Squall's face looks like. And they I mean, Octopath came out on PC, so they showed that. Brave Exvius coming out in mobile. It looks pretty cool. They didn't mention Octopath or mobile because that's not being localized yet. We got Dragon Quest Builders 2 coming out in the Switch. And like a big fuck you to Sony, there's the Dragon Quest 11 Definitive Edition coming out on Switch, which has all of the orchestrated music, extra scenarios, extra endings, romance, 16-bit gameplay that can be switched between that and 3D graphics on the fly. And the Avengers, I'm a DC fan, the Avengers game, which looks totally freaking dope. So I'm just like, okay. And I'm going to the Octopath concert, and I know they'll probably have an announcement there, but this was good enough.
Okay. GTO in the house, ladies and gentlemen. GTO rant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be quiet.
No, dude. No, you covered everything. But I had a few nuggets that I was trying to.
Ononnoki, whatever that game was, that looks pretty.
Ononaki.
Cool. Ononaki and
Onukani. It's a Japanese.
Ononaki, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was another new one that escapes me right now, and a more modern looking one that they had people come out and talk about. It wasn't really my thing because I was just looking at their RPGs and
Dark Side.
You know, no, just
Outsiders or something like that.
It escaped me.
I think it's
Yeah.
Outsiders.
Yes, that's the one. But it was, man, it was a show. It just was the way they opened it up. It's like I remember that tech demo back for the PS3 when they first showed the Final Fantasy VII graphics to just show what the PS3 could do, and everybody was so fucking like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get a Final Fantasy VII remake!" And then they're like, "Hold your horses, not gonna happen." And then I remember everyone went ape shit when they announced the remake like 600 million years ago. And then it went through development hell. Hell, we even got like Kingdom Hearts DLC trailer that connects to the mobile game and is going into the Masters of Masters storyline. And I'm just like, wait, we finally got an E3 all based around the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's out there. It's got a release date, at least the first part. And I know I'm not probably going to wait on it because I want to play it on my PS5 or Scarlet. But no, it's not going to be on Scarlet, is it?
No, it's
Anyway.
not.
Yeah, PS5. Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, I think a lot of people have just waited for so long that they took for granted how good this game looks. It looks like it is finally the first, maybe in my opinion, from what I saw, RPG to nail the action system. Everything that was done in the boss fights and the decisions people were making, and you could see was clearly gameplay, had real-time reaction, looked so smooth, looked so entertaining, and Tifa has non-polygonal titties, okay? All right? That is a big deal!
Okay. Yeah. That to me. Okay, so there's a little nugget that I heard from, again,
We're
because I
still
told
cleaning
you
up a little nugget.
earlier,
Sorry.
because they couldn't stream the actual thing. Spawnwave dropped a little bit of a nugget. Final Fantasy VIII wasn't being remade for the longest time because they lost parts of the source code of the game. Yeah. So that's why, and then now they finally found it. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be like something that will keep being pushed and remade into a better version of itself. And yeah, it's just going to keep going on. Excuse me, sorry about that.
No worries, man.
It's
Maybe someday we'll get a Final Fantasy VIII remake.
yeah, I'm
You never
pretty sure
know.
that'll happen. Yeah, it was a very Final Fantasy-esque Square Enix, which is pretty much what like Square is known for in general. If you ask someone Square Enix, do you know this?
Good Dragon Quest
Yeah.
representation too.
Right.
That was nice.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Square Enix redeemed what E3 stands for. And
Exactly.
And Nintendo only just aligns itself with the timing of E3. They're always the last one, and they always just align themselves with because they
Because
don't.
they're royalty. They're
Yeah.
fucking royalty, man.
Yeah. So some of their, because they do their own treehouse, they've got their own conference area where the games are available to play. They've got a totally like E3-esque audience, which is going to come anyways to view their show. E3 runs for a couple of days, so announcement days you'll have higher footfall. But when the announcements are done and people are going to come and check out the game at the booth, that's basically what they're going to do. They're going to book timings and they're going to stand in line, and that's what E3 is. And I think the guys who flew all the way to E3 to cover it, or even just to enjoy it, would have definitely had a much more decent time after Square did their whole, presentation. Because post presentation, you get to play the game. You can't play the game until they've announced it, right? So you go to E3, you're waiting there, and I think everyone will be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm able to play." Because they had the demos of all of their games that they announced on the floor, pretty much, except for I think Final Fantasy 14, was it, or 8? I don't remember.
14 was there. Oh,
But
I don't know about the demos on the floor.
Yeah, I don't think both of these were available. But every other game and Outsiders, that's the one that was discussed. These two obviously not available, but every other game that they announced, they had it on the floor to play. The people will fucks with, so that's a good thing.
Now I will give Microsoft some credit. They put on a good show, and like, it was. they had the theatrics and everything, and Phil Spencer was there. But I mean, there's just something powerful sitting there and watching this and thinking to myself, how many listeners? I mean, I'm 35. How many listeners are going to sit there today and they're going to completely take for granted that this is what we have wanted to see from Square Enix as the
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy VII fans for many, many years. So I showed the full 3 and almost 4 minute full trailer to my seventh graders today, which ironically was how old I was when Final Fantasy VII came out. And it used to be one per year, right? So it was like I
Right.
was in seventh grade, seven came out, eighth grade, eight came out, ninth grade, nine came out, and so on. But but they looked at it and just watching the gameplay and the atmosphere and the music, which they commented on, they looked at me and they said, "Wow, this looks like it is an awesome game." And they were just like in shock, like it was something they'd never seen before. And I was thinking, like, wow, okay, I don't really care how much I like this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
there's a new generation of gamers who can also say, when I was 14, Final Fantasy VII came out and it was the best game I played that year, then fuck all game, my dream has come true. And I'm like in tears, man. I'm in tears. I'm in
Um,
tears.
I
No
have we mentioned the
tears.
Saga series? They've got two. One is
No, we haven't. They
Romancing
look like they were
Saga, I
in.
think, and
Yeah, there's two of them,
Scarlet
and they're in,
Grace.
and they were in the original. They look like the original graphics too, did they not?
I think it's a localization. That's all. It's
Mm,
not a remake or a remaster. I think it's a localization there. So the Saga series is coming in
fascinating.
English. So again skip through that. Like just press
But we
next,
already
next.
there's just the ones that we didn't have because we already had like Saga Frontier
Yeah,
and
this is I think something that we didn't have. I mean, don't quote me on this.
fascinating.
I kind of
GTO is going to have to do a little bit more research on that one because I skipped that 1 minute. I was too busy jizzing over
same
seven.
here. Last Remnant Remastered was the other thing that they introduced.
Nah, phooey.
It looks
Well, it
alright.
wasn't a good game in the first place.
It looks
Everyone will like
alright.
it better on the. Maybe it's better in bed and handheld. It
And
wasn't.
Square's very very good with Nintendo. They just throw it on there. Like any of these games can be powered by a Switch. So that's something that is even the Outsider games doesn't look that challenging graphically. So I think you could
It's
get that
funny.
out. I mean, you can
It's funny.
enhance it to look really good, but I'm pretty sure it'll probably drop on the Switch as well.
Yeah, but Tales of Arise couldn't run on the Switch.
I
But
don't think
it's
that's
funny,
possible.
Yeah, you mentioned the Switch, and there's just so many rumors floating around of things that are possibly going to be there.
Well, 6 hours
And
from now.
6 hours from now. So why don't I say to everybody out there,
Hold on. Let's do it this way. Okay, so just for the audience sake, just so they know, GTO is going to cover it from cover the actual Nintendo Direct 6 hours from now. We're going to stitch this episode up, and it's going to be up 6 hours from now. But I'll go first as to what I predict, and we can come back in the next episode and we can talk about it.
sure, what do you predict? What do you think you're going to see tonight, man?
Okay. Here's what I think. I want Ori. Okay. Nintendo,
Yeah.
you gotta get this right. Your online sucks. You basically keep putting some NES games and then taking off some NES games, which doesn't really make a difference to me because I never go in there, except for Tetris, which was like, thank you. Other than that, you've not done nothing. There's nothing that you've done. So please, Ori. Metroid Prime is something that would be nice, but that again is, for me, I think it's asking too much from Nintendo. Luigi's Mansions, Animal Crossing, The Town, Daemon X Machina. I want to see more of this stuff. Tell me more about this. am I really gonna keep playing on my Switch, or now just wait for the next gen? Because you need to keep giving me games on the Nintendo, like, which, okay, Super Mario Maker is a definitely good game, and it's an endless game. It's gonna be fun, but sometimes you want to play something different. So these are the games that I want to know more about: The Town,
Nice.
Luigi's Mansion, Animal Crossing, and just like you do on every really big 45-minute direct, shadow drop a couple of things,
Right.
and give us like a couple of things, like maybe Cadence of Hyrule, just to keep us happy. That'll be nice, because it was announced for last month. I think it was in spring, or was it early summer. You haven't given us any news on that as well. That's something I want, like, from you: two shadow drops and one demo that is playable. So make my dreams come true. I know you're already tweaking and this episode's going to actually air after it's come, but Karmic World, if you're listening out there, this is what I want from you,
I I've
Nintendo.
got I've got some different dreams, man. See, because for me, I can't put the Switch down. There's just so much coming out, and we already have had so many announcements. I mean, we knew Astral Chain's coming. The Dragon Quests are amazing. And I am a Fire Emblem fan, and I guarantee Three Houses is going to be an amazing title. It just like Sword and Shield is going to be an amazing title. There's just and we have Link's Awakening coming. There's just so much coming out for it, not even including the third party titles, that I am perfectly happy with the state of the Switch. I don't think it could possibly be better. But if I had a dream tonight, sure, I'd love to see the Nino Kuni port. I would love to see. Please let me see some Bayonetta 3. Okay. I would also love to see some Shin Megami Tensei 5, which they haven't mentioned for 2 years.
Is
I
it
would
is it still
like
being worked on?
they've never said no, so I'm assuming
Okay.
yes. But I also really, really want to see them utilize what those Joy-Cons can do and give me the goddamn Metroid Prime trilogy, so that when 4 eventually does come out, I'm used to using my Joy-Con as a Samus arm on my big screen and utilizing the motion on it for something that was done well on the Wii. That the Metroid Prime trilogy is something that everyone should experience, because most gamers haven't right now, unless they're of our age bracket. That trilogy, why would anyone care about 4 if they don't know how great the first 3 are? I mean, Metroid Prime 1 is one of the top 5 ranked games in GameRankings.com of all time. So let's get that out there. Let's get some of these announcements out there. And I would like to see a couple shadow drops, just like you, Bruce. And I want to see at least one big Nintendo-sized bomb of a surprise. I couldn't give two shits about
What is a
Mario Maker. I'm
Nintendo-sized bomb
sorry.
of a surprise?
Like a Xenoblade 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could live with a Bayonetta and Metroid, like just a screen kind of teaser as well, but something new. I'd kill for
Yeah,
something new, something
but
that
the
we
thing
don't
is,
know. Is it not in the
we're
rumor mills? I'm sorry. Yeah,
we're 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 spoiled because
I
there's
think
so
so.
much good shit on the Switch that we've only convinced ourselves that there isn't. I mean, the Hollow Knight sequel's been worked on. They're probably going to mention that too. So, or could. So, I
Smash.
mean, who knows? I mean, I don't even play Smash. I buy it just to let my kids beat the crap out of each other. It's not really my thing. I think it's great, but
Damn.
I suck at it. I suck at it. I
Damn.
suck at Smash.
Dude.
I'm
Uh,
I'm ready for East 9. I want to see East 9 announced on Switch, but it has to come out in Japan first. So
right. Well,
anyway, maybe can I do the future time warp thing? Can I do the
oh
future
yeah.
time
Oh
warp
yeah.
thing?
Okay. 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 So
Okay, all right. So here's what's going to happen, guys. Right now, we are not going to close yet. We are going to skip through time to see if our predictions came true. So we are going to do a time jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here is what actually happened in the Nintendo Direct.
Bye.
All right, guys, so this is GTO. We're back here after the Nintendo Direct. And I must say, my first initial impressions of this Direct were a bit mixed, though I have absolutely no reason why. Probably because I'm butthurt that certain things didn't show up. But then again, you know the Nintendo way of doing things. Something always shows up that you don't expect it to. So let's talk about what was there. To begin with, we had a really awesome introduction with some new Smash Brothers information. It looks like we're getting all the Dragon Quest protagonists, or at least most of them. They started off showing the Dragon Quest XI protagonist and all the others. Maybe it's just an event. Who knows? That's awesome. Nintendo is pushing Dragon Quest, and I love it. Good job to Square Enix on that, too. Doug Bowser did his thing. It was funny. Luigi's Mansion 3 looks awesome. We're getting a Dark Crystal Tactics game. Okay, man, Dark Crystal's back from like the dark ages, back when I was like in primary school. And that is just so freaking awesome to see Jim Henson's characters still breathing life. We're getting Trials of Mana, plus other Mana games, and that's kind of a shadow drop, which is nice because everybody who, likes RPGs remembers Mana, and there's some of them I haven't played, so I might look into that. Resident Evil is coming to Switch. More Resident Evil. Like the Resident Evil 1 remake and 0, I believe 1 or more of those are shadow dropped. 5 and 6 are coming. Why'd you waste your time on 6? We don't need that bullshit. Anyway, No More Heroes was focused on a little bit, and I never really got through the first one, but it looks pretty cool. Contra Rogue Core, yeah, that didn't look like Contra to me. It looked awesome until the end, and I'm like, well, okay, that's Contra, and it looked like they're bringing other Contra, too. And then it went right into Daemon X Machina, which looks kind of Xenoblade X-y, and it's looks a little bit better than it did before. I mean, I'm not a huge mech gamer, but let's hope this one works out. Then, for some strange reason, we are getting a Panzer Dragoon, like maybe a remake of the original on the Switch, which just kind of floored me. I was like, wow, that came out of nowhere. Holy Dreamcast or Saturn or whatever. That's a name I haven't heard forever. There was a little bit of focus on Sword and Shield. Astral Chain looks amazing. But then again, I've already said that. Platinum Games, they are the daddies. Empire of Sin is kind of like this mafia-like top-down game that looks pretty cool. Speaking of top-down games, Ultimate Alliance 3 looks a lot better than 1 and 2 because it's not entirely top-down and it has an awesome cast. Cadence of Hyrule is finally officially announced and coming, and it doesn't look as weird as I thought. Looks like jamming out to Zelda music while actually getting shit done. Mario and Sonic are coming back and they're taking over the Olympics. Yay. In Tokyo. How appropriate. I guess basically they're just staying home and going out and playing some sports. Anyway, I never really got into Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, but I know a lot of people like it. And so that should be a fun crossover there. Should be a fun experimental title, which has been done before, so it's not really experimental. Animal Crossing. It looked okay. Not really my thing, but, there's a lot of fans out there, so I'm happy for them. Spyro the Dragon, Ni no Kuni, Minecraft, all announced, some of which we already had speculated upon. There is a port of Witcher 3 coming to the Switch. I have no idea how bad this is going to look. Trailer didn't look terrible, but yeah, Witcher 3 is coming to Switch. Can you believe this? Like, what else can they bring to Switch? Final Fantasy VII Remake? No, I'm just joking, but holy freaking goodness. Witcher 3 on Switch. Okay, even if it looks like crap, It's freaking Witcher 3 on Switch, okay? There's no way I'm putting 250 hours into that shit again, but it's Witcher 3 on Switch. So, yeah. Anyway, I just gotta say it again. Witcher 3 on Switch. Holy shit. Okay, Minecraft Dungeons, Elder Scrolls Blades, Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein, Dragon Quest Builders 2, and I probably missed a couple here because they were really quick. But well, even Lucky's Tale, that game that used to be an Oculus exclusive, is there. Dauntless, the new free-to-play Monster Hunter clone, is coming to Switch. Mario Maker 2 was barely talked about, just like with Pokemon and Fire Emblem, because they already mentioned it. Speaking of which, we got a nice new little trailer for Fire Emblem, which I do say is going to be one of their best games of the year, and is a major, 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 major title, because Fire Emblem almost died in 2012, and then it got really good again. And it's one of the most underrated series out there. So play Fire Emblem, please. It's going to be a great game. Alien Isolation's coming. They're doing some kind of Smash thing with Banjo-Kazooie, and that just looks freaking unreal. Now, before I get into the final here, there was no Metroid at all. There was no mention of Metroid Prime 4 or Metroid Prime Trilogy. Probably still too early because we haven't heard about the new consoles yet, which we all know are coming anyway. Bayonetta 3 we know is coming. They even mentioned it before, that it's still coming when they announced Astral Chain, but no mention of that here either. Remember, there's still Gamescom, and there's also Tokyo Game Show. There's definitely an Octopath prequel coming to mobile, which was announced earlier, but they didn't announce the Octopath sequel, which I know is going to be announced at the concert on the 28th, which I will be at, so I will report from there. No Shin Megami Tensei 5 after all these years, and I'm wondering if this is still even a real project, but it's nice that there's a lot of titles out there that they have announced that they're not talking about. It means that, hey, we can be like Sony too. Okay. Anyway, that was inappropriate. And just as I was beginning to think that, okay, this direct is okay, they suddenly dropped the bombshell. Okay, bombshell. I'm talking 50 megaton bombshell. Just 2 years later, a Breath of the Wild sequel. Okay, not an expansion pack. An actual fucking sequel to Breath of the Wild. New 3D Zelda. Okay, yeah, we saw Link's Awakening. It looks pretty cool. It was my first Zelda game that I completed. But a Breath of the Wild sequel in development already? Like, continuing the story. We saw Link, we saw Zelda working together. We saw Hyrule Castle rising out of the ground. I nearly shat myself, and I can't believe that, they are moving forward with this already. So, kudos to Nintendo. And I do believe that, Monolith Soft is helping out with that title even more so than last time. So I'm still trying to process that one, guys, because we all know how great Breath of the Wild is. If you didn't play it yet, you're just incorrect. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but that's just the truth. It's one of the greatest games ever made, and definitely one of the best, if not the best, of this current generation or last couple generations. So that in itself is enough of a bombshell to make this direct complete. Like they promised, there was enough there for everybody. And yeah, that's my take on the Nintendo Direct, and I'm going to go lay down and think about this Zelda sequel, because everything else that happened before then kind of just faded from my mind. Did you find anything there that was interesting?